Hello everyone, and welcome to Transformers Fall of Cybertron. If you don't know what the Transformers is, it is a cartoon show of a bunch of robots that transform into cars and stuff, and they spend the entire time shooting each other. That's the entire cartoon series. Transformers Fall of Cybertron is a game I quite like a lot. It is a fun, brainless action shooter game. You just shoot things and they explode. And you know what's not to like about that. There are some things I quite like about this game. I'll probably explain more about that when we actually get started. This game is very much built with fan service in mind, very much catering towards fans of the original cartoon show from the 80s. Lots of references thrown in there, lots of fan service, which is both good and bad because, you know, pandering to fans can have its benefits and also can get a bit silly at times. But nonetheless, it's still a decent homage, as it was, to the original cartoon show. People who I guess were upset with the way Transformers were portrayed in the live-action movies will definitely probably like this game a lot more. And yeah, it's a game I like a lot. It's a very interesting game. Like I said, it's brainless, it's just things exploding all the time, but it does have some interesting things, and I'll probably go into that more when we start playing it. But for now, let's get started with the story, as the Autobots try to escape from the doomed planet of Cybertron.
We have no choice, Bumblebee. The war is lost. Leaving our home is the hardest decision I've ever had to make. It has been a long, painful war with the Decepticons. Whatever lies beyond that portal is our best and last hope, my friend.
We're approaching the portal. Data indicates it's growing more unstable.
At this rate, it may close before we even get there.
Megatron. Direct all fire on those tow cables. All hands to combat.
Bumblebee, you with us? Optimus, he's coming around.
Thank the Maker.
He's been through worse. Voice chip is still crushed. Nothing new there. Base energon levels are almost normal. Overshields are charging up. I need to test your retinal scanners. Follow the light. That's it. On target. Looking good. How are your optics?
I just got hit by a giant robot claw and you're worried about my optics?
Arms out! Weapons to the deck! Don't fire! I'm a medic! Slap a muffler on it! Take them out, Bumblebee! They're my optics! Ah!
Well, it's good to know that robots can be blinded the same way humans can.
Grab this ammo clip. More Decepticons are trying to board. Don't forget to reload.
Decepticons are boarding a ship! Defend the bridge!
Oh, as you can see, this is a third-person action shooter game. You point at things and they die. Really not much to explain. In fact, there's not much to say at all in this first part, because this first chapter acts as a tutorial mode, so all the gameplay elements you really need to be aware of will be made quite obvious as they come up, because the game does a fairly decent job at sort of explaining everything.
That's showing them!
Megatron won't give up that easily.
Teletrap. Full damage analysis on all decks.
Firewall breach. Unauthorized access.
Your precious arm will never reach that portal, Optimus.
Shield failure on starboard thruster.
I will tear your ship apart, piece by piece!
Optimus! Decepticons are swarming the engine deck!
I'm on my way. Bumblebee, stay and cover the bridge.
Did Megatron really just hack his way through the firewall just to yell at us?
Teletrap system failure.
No! The entire defense network is down. Without the pulse cannons, Optimus won't stand a chance. You'll have to reboot the system manually. Take this fuse from Teletrap. It should reactivate the service link. Good luck, Bumblebee.
This way, Bumblebee! We'll take point!
Don't worry, fellow Autobots. So long as we stick together, everything will be fine. Oh. Well, this is off to a flying start, isn't it?
You alright? Can you make it over?
So in case you haven't noticed, Bumblebee is a mute. He cannot speak because his voice box was destroyed by Megatron in an unfortunate event that happened long before this game. Ever since the live-action movies, it's been a thing for Bumblebee to not really be able to speak for some reason. I guess that's just the thing they decided to carry over.
Patched into your optics. The service lift is just ahead.
We've got to get out of here!
Gravity reestablished.
Megatron will pay for that. They're ripping the Ark apart. You'll have to dash mid-air to get across.
Now, okay, hang on a minute. Just 5 seconds ago, we were in the bridge and those giant claw things crashed through the window and no one got sucked out. Now, suddenly, everyone gets sucked out like this ship has some kind of pressurized atmosphere. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for scientific accuracy here because this is Transformers and all. I was just expecting a little bit of consistency with their inaccuracy.
Quarters to fire your weapon. You'll have to punch through the safety locks.
Service lift online.
Nice work, Bumblebee.
Let's move this up! Up these tanks! Reapers on deck! Soundwaves on good fight!
Rumble, create an entrance.
Bumblebee, you're almost to the defense tower. Hurry! Optimus is losing ground.
I don't know if you've noticed that all the generic Autobot soldiers have the same voice actor, but, well, I guess that's to be expected in a game like this.
Those flames will bubble your paint if you don't haul asses. Sprint through! That energon will cool your chassis.
In here, Bumblebee! I can use a hand! Decepticons! Dropping in from above! Change your shooting hand for better aim and cover!
So this is something you'll see a lot in this game. Chest-high walls and various bits of cover to use because this is a third-person shooter game. Although strangely there's no cover mechanic. You can't sort of sellotape yourself to bits of wall, which is fine because, the game trusts yourself to just hide behind the walls manually. I just find it strange that if there's no cover mechanic or even any ability to crouch, I don't know why they put chest-high walls in there anyway, because if you can't crouch then you can't use the cover.
Easy now. Your pulse rifle could melt that whole panel. Then you can rush him from there.
I wanted to see what happens if you fail a quick time event. Turns out, it's not a quick time event.
You did it! Horse gunners, engine deck, cover and fire! Tactical readout is online. Now if I can just locate Optimus. There! He's taking Megatron head on! Bumblebee, are you there? Optimus needs your help. That fall must have jarred your alternator back into gear. Change form and roll out.
So at long last, you get to transform! Yes, I'm fine with these controls, thank you. Let's roll out! Well, never mind him. We've got more important things at hand. Gotta go fast!
You'll have to blast through that grate. Look out, Bumblebee! Bumblebee, kick in your nitro boost! Nice work! Bumblebee, you're running out of road. You'll have to jump it.
Check your fire! Over here! I just said you were coming.
Let's take a moment to look at our surroundings. Just taking a look at the big scale, the panorama. It's all eye candy, of course, but it's very nicely made. I do like the graphics in this game. I think what amazes me is how good the graphics are compared to the previous game, War for Cybertron. Because if you've ever played that on PC, the PC port wasn't very good. You couldn't configure your controls at all. It was locked at 30 frames per second. You couldn't change any of the graphics aside from resolution. This game is a much better PC port.
Over here, Bumblebee! Fresh supplies!
I'm not entirely sure how the original PC port of War for Cybertron was so bad. I mean, it's the Unreal Engine. I thought they were designed on PCs. I would have thought porting it to PCs would have been a piece of cake, but shows what I know. Apparently High Moon Studios had a lot of trouble porting from the consoles to the PC, which is why the original port was so bad, and they actually outsourced the port for this one. I think it was, they outsourced it to a company called Mercenaries Technology, I think that's them, and they only announced it like a month before release. They said, hey, we're making a PC port suddenly, and I guess because originally they just abandoned the PC because they thought, well, we have no idea how PCs work, we'll just leave it on consoles. But no, eventually they changed their mind on that, and I'm glad because this PC port's actually pretty good. 60 frames per second and everything. Anyway, you picked up a rocket launcher. Time for battle.
Target left! Turn left! Target right! I'm hit! I'm down! Push!
Now there's a lot of fighting in this game, and what I'd like to try and do is try and get as many opportunities to transform into a car as possible, because that's kind of the point of Transformers, I always thought. So, quite frequently I'll try to find ways of transforming into cars during combat, either to get from one piece of cover to another, or just to run over people. Bumblebee is too small to run over enemies, unfortunately, but yeah, it's pretty fun, but sometimes the level design is a bit iffy on that. Sometimes there are just too many chest-high walls and you can't really drive around very well, but I'll get to that later. You know, I could make a really, really easy pun here, but I think I'll spare you the torture.
Holy strap! Did you see that? The whole engine deck is coming apart! Keep pushing! Optimus needs us!
You know what, never mind. If this game can say the words holy scrap and poor assets, then next time I'm not holding back when it comes to puns. But yeah, as you can see, the rocket launcher can also home in if you can hover your cursor over the enemy long enough. And yeah, this is pretty much what I like about this game. The fact you can enter your car mode whenever you want and just flank the enemy. I mean, when you think about it, this is a pretty run-of-the-mill shooter, but the fact you can transform into a car whenever you want does add some interesting mechanics, and that's what I like about this game.
He made it! He's through!
I can't see anything, but my scanners say Optimus should be right on top of you.
This ought to do the job. Even if you destroy me, Megatron, others will rise to defeat your tyranny.
Then I'll just have to destroy you all!
Bumblebee! Cybertron, the home world we Autobots have strived to protect from the Decepticons, can no longer sustain us. Eons of civil war have caused the greatest of casualties. Our planet's very core has shut down, halting its production of life-giving energon. Most of us have abandoned our home in hopes of finding a new life among the stars. I am Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. We do not know how many of our brothers escaped Megatron's blockade. I can only be certain of this. Just one transport remains.
Ironhide to Optimus Prime. The last of the Energon reserves have been transferred to the Ark. Engines are online, all systems go.
Nice work, Ironhide. Perceptor,
How goes the city shutdown procedures?
Nearly finished, Optimus. My team will have all systems powered off and archived by the time we launch.
Good. I'll send the boarding call out momentarily. But first...
Optimus! Decepticons have broken through sectors 9 through 12.
That was Grimlock's post.
More Decepticon squadrons approaching from the north and west.
Oh, okay. Abrupt loading screen. Couldn't think of a better place to end that cutscene, huh?
This is Ratchet. Decepticons have invaded the city. We need you at the fortress to help coordinate defenses.
We're on our way, Ratchet.
Well, things certainly aren't looking good for the planet of Cybertron. But how did things get this bad? Well, to fully understand the events leading up to this game, we have to go back to the previous game, Fall of Cybertron. You see, the Autobots and the Decepticons have been at war for a long time, like a really, really long time, and they'd been at a stalemate, you see. Neither side was getting an upper hand, so Megatron, in a desperate attempt to gain some kind of edge, attacked a space station on one of Cybertron's moons.
Lord Megatron, you're certain it's here?
I am certain, Barricade. And when I find it, the balance of this war with the Autobots will finally tip in my favor.
It turns out Megatron is after Dark Energon, a power source so destructive and so powerful that no one can control it.
You arrogant fool! No one has ever survived direct contact! What? This isn't possible! No! No one can control Dark Energon! It dominates and destroys everything it touches!
I am the Dominator! I am the Destroyer! I am Megatron!
Yes, for reasons that are never really explained properly, Megatron is able to control Dark Energon, and with it he gains all these new weird powers, and threatens to use such power to gain control over Cybertron. Starscream and his merry band of flying robots decides to join Megatron, rather than risk being at his bad side, and offers to help him by supplying him with more Dark Energon.
The supply of Dark Energon aboard this station is nearly exhausted. I know how to manufacture more.
Traitor! Zeta Prime will hear about this!
And so Starscream, Thundercracker and Skywarp bugger off to some weird processing plant to supply the space station with more Dark Energon, and also they're Decepticons now, even though it wasn't really made clear that they were Autobots beforehand. Nonetheless, they managed to successfully turn on the generator and supply the space station with more Dark Energon.
All systems online. Dark Energon, manufacturing at optimal efficiency.
Now I can introduce Dark Energon into the planet's core. And as it spreads throughout Cybertron, my power shall travel with it.
Entrance to the planet core is heavily shielded behind the Omega Gate.
I will acquire the key. We launch a full-scale assault on Iacon immediately. And wipe Zeta Prime and his pathetic Autobots off the face of the planet!
And so Megatron attacks the Autobot city of Iacon to find the Autobot leader Zeta Prime, who has the Omega Key, which would give him access to the core of Cybertron.
Finally, the Omega Key is within my... What?
Never gets old.
Did you really think it would be that easy? I shall remain where I am. This vantage point will provide an excellent view of your destruction.
So then Megatron destroys this really weird contraption that Zeta Prime has, and Zeta Prime is defeated.
The Omega Key is mine! The core of Cybertron is mine! Your spies were misinformed, Megatron. That device only activates the key to the core.
So it turns out that the Omega Key doesn't actually unlock the Omega Lock, which leads to the core of Cybertron, but is in fact a key that activates the actual key to the Omega Gate, which is actually a giant robot named Omega Supreme.
Turn around and... Where did it go?
He's gone! What is this guy? You think he knows about the Omega Key?
No breakdown. He is the Omega Key. Identity: Omega Supreme. Enemy status: terminated.
Anyway, it turns out Megatron survived the crash, and him and his Decepticons go and hunt down Omega Supreme and shoot him down. They then go and investigate the crash site, where it turns out the Omega Supreme still isn't dead, and then they have to shoot him some more to make him, you know, more dead, I guess.
Omega Supreme's virtual shield is down. Use the Dark Energon to corrupt them.
I know what to do, Soundwave. Be silent or face my wrath!
Systems failing. Corruption total.
Yes. Yes! The Autobots' most powerful weapon and the key to the core of Cybertron are mine! The universe shall hear my name and tremble!
As Megatron stands triumphantly over Omega Supreme's crotch, the Decepticons gain access to the core of Cybertron and infuse it with Dark Energon. With Dark Energon now flowing through Cybertron's core and Megatron's inexplicable and unexplained ability to control said Dark Energon, Megatron now has control over the planet.
A glorious new age is upon us, my brethren. With Dark Energon infused into the core, Cybertron is mine to command!
Yeah, nobody cares. Anyway, meanwhile, on the Autobot city of Iacon, Bumblebee races towards the Autobot base, doing cool Matrix moves and stuff. Bumblebee is suddenly overwhelmed by Decepticon forces and things are looking bad. However, luckily, someone comes to save the day in the nick of time. Also to do a really cool entrance. Awesome.
I need to find the Autobot called Optimus. I have important information for him.
I am Optimus.
You're... Sir, it pains me to tell you this, but our leader, Zeta Prime, is dead.
Megatron.
With the shocking news that the Autobot leader is dead, they then find out that he is in fact not dead.
This is Zeta Prime. I am being held captive in Megatron's Kaon prison complex.
Prime is alive?
I am downloading vital information that could help the Autobots win the war. Hurry, Autobots. I don't know how much longer I have.
Optimus, let's go! We have to save Zeta Prime!
Optimus, it's a trap. Surely you see that. A chance we'll have to take. Hang on, Zeta, my friend. I have a plan.
Turns out the brilliant plan is to get captured by Decepticons and taken to the prison complex that Zeta Prime is being held at. Which is the oldest trick in the book, and I'm surprised it even worked.
Move it, Autobots!
Anyway, our Autobot friends get sent to Soundwave, who sends them over to recycling.
Recycling? That doesn't seem so bad.
It turns out recycling is apparently some wacky word for firing squad. But luckily, Air Raid saves the day.
Optimus! Looks like I got here just in time.
I'll say!
So somehow their ridiculous plan worked and they managed to find Zeta Prime.
Optimus, is that you?
What do they have him hooked up to?
It turns out they have Zeta Prime hooked up to some kind of wacky subwoofer system, and Soundwave immediately drops some sick beats.
We can't blast through that shield!
So then a boss fight ensues where Soundwave summons a bunch of tiny people to fight you. Oh no! Optimus has been shot!
He's gone!
Oh, he's fine. Okay then. Yeah, and just let Soundwave get away, why don't you? Thanks.
Hold on, Zeta. We'll get you out of there.
A noble sentiment, Optimus. And I'm afraid I'm dead already.
Zeta, let's bring him home.
And so Optimus brings back the body of Zeta Prime to the Autobot High Council, who are all clearly just Zeta Prime's character model but obscured in darkness, so you can't tell they just copy-pasted him several times. Anyway, he brings them back and asks for advice and stuff because now the Autobots have no leaders. And so the Council do a logical thing and just make Optimus the leader, and he inherits the title of Prime, becoming Optimus Prime.
Megatron has infected the very core of our world. You must journey to the core and remove this blight. Failure would doom us all.
I will accept the burden with all that I am.
Rise, Optimus Prime, for you are the leader of the Autobots. You are the last Prime.
By the way, I should probably point out that everything we just saw involving Zeta Prime and Optimus becoming a Prime just now has since been retconned. Optimus and Megatron were friends before the war started, and before becoming a Prime he was known as Orion Pax, and he was an archivist at the Iacon Archives. He was basically a huge nerd. Anyway, when he became a Prime, Megatron got angry, and everything else in the storyline is still the same, so we won't dwell on that too long. Basically, the important thing to take away from this is that Orion became a Prime before the war happened. Anyway, Optimus and his friends go to the core of Cybertron. To do this, they need to rescue Omega Supreme, who has been since captured by the Decepticons, to gain access to the core. Once they make their way towards the core of Cybertron, which is overrun with Decepticons, this happens.
Those look like turrets on their backs!
I think they want us to ride them. They can sense we're here to help.
My sentiments exactly.
So then they fight their way towards the core of Cybertron while riding giant robot slugs with guns on their backs in a prolonged turret section while heavy metal music plays in the background. This isn't a joke, by the way, this actually happens. But before they can make their way to the core of Cybertron, they have to fend off this giant robot spider snake thing, which looks like the Sentinel things from the Matrix. And after a valiant battle, the giant spider thing is destroyed.
We did it.
Unfortunately, it's too late to remove the Dark Energon that has corrupted the core of Cybertron, and in order to fix this problem, Cybertron must reboot itself. You know, like when you have a problem with your computer and you just restart it and it fixes everything? That's kind of what's happening here, except this restart process takes millions and millions of years, and during which that time, Cybertron will become a barren wasteland.
We must leave our home if we are to survive.
So then the core of Cybertron offers its spark, aka its soul, to Optimus Prime, you know, for safekeeping, and the Optimus begin their evacuation plan to leave the planet of Cybertron because, quite frankly, it's a lost cause at this point. Unfortunately, it turns out Megatron has a giant space cannon specifically for the purpose of shooting down escaping Autobot ships.
He's insane.
Optimus sends out the aerial bots to destroy the giant space station that's shooting down all the escaping Autobot ships in order to allow the Autobots to escape the planet of Cybertron. However, while they're there, it turns out that the giant space cannon is actually a giant Decepticon known as Trypticon. And then they hatch a plan to destroy Trypticon's conversion cog, which stops him from being in gun mode and changes him back to robot mode for some reason. What follows is a genuinely cool sequence where you're doing a Star Fox-style battle with Trypticon as he falls towards the planet of Cybertron. After destroying his jetpacks, he begins to fall uncontrollably towards the planet's surface and crashes.
Look! There it is!
But of course, Trypticon's not quite dead yet, so it's up to Optimus Prime, Bumblebee and Ironhide to finish off Trypticon on the ground.
Suffer for this, Autobots!
Thank Primus. It worked.
You haven't defeated me, Autobots.
You've lost, Trypticon. Autobots, roll out!
You did it, Prime. We did it, Ratchet. All of us. Many brothers were lost today, but thanks to our combined efforts, many more will live to find a home elsewhere.
Optimus, Megatron is still out there.
And as long as we remain here, we shall resist him. But in time, our turn will come to leave Cybertron as well. I have commissioned a new galactic transport for us, an Ark, in which we shall make our journey through the stars. No matter where we go, Cybertron will be with us.
So now you're pretty much caught up with what happens in Transformers. Next time, we'll continue the game where we left off and start Chapter 2. See you guys next time.